In this video, we're going to be going through how to profitably scale your e-commerce brand in 2024 with user-generated content. I'm going to give you the complete guide and step-by-step breakdown of how we've already scaled 150 e-commerce brands using this exact formula, and I'm going to give it to you completely for free so that you have the tools to finally scale your business without having to pay a marketing agency a hefty monthly retainer every single month. So let's get right into it. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. How to profitably scale your e-commerce brand with UGC in 2024. The exact steps that we've used to scale over 150 e-commerce brands. But first, who the hell are you? Okay, so where it started for me, I started my first online business at 19 years old. It was an e-commerce brand. I had a couple of learnings, to say the least. Then I struck gold with my final e-commerce brand, and the third brand did okay. The last e-commerce brand we scaled to 45k per month in just 3 months, and then I sold it and I moved on. And we'll go through why in a moment, but in terms of what that actually looked like, so 45k per month, but all of my revenue came from social media ads. You can see an example of the campaigns that we were running. So here you can see for this particular ad set, we spent 3K, turned it into 18K, right? 5.72x return. Similar results below, you can see we had a lot of success with this ad. And you can actually see the front end on the right. This is a screenshot of one of the videos that we ran as a video ad. And you can see here, we reached over 800,000 people, 6K comments, over 10,000 likes. And as you can see, this generated a lot of revenue for us. And then I sold it. And let's get into that. So I was at 45k per month. The plan was to get an agency in, a team of experts to get me from 45k per month and scale me to 400,000 per month. But in reality, that just did not happen. What ended up happening is I ended up paying an agency for 3 months straight, and our results flatlined. They didn't do any better than I was doing on my own. And this time I was actually paying hefty retainer fees every single month. And so I was actually losing money. And then it went a step further and our results actually started to decline. And I realized I was better off on my own. Fast forward to now. I now run a digital marketing agency, a creative growth agency, where we help e-commerce brands scale to multiple 7 or 8 figures. And we've already done this for over 150 e-com brands. We've generated over $35 million in revenue. And now I'm not dealing with all of the headaches that come with running an e-commerce brand, like supplier issues, PayPal holds, customer service, logistics, and I'm sure there's many more on that list that you could definitely relate to. Okay, so just to show you some of the results that we've been getting for some of our clients, you can see a very clear trend from when we come in. You can see revenue just increase consistently. Same with this graph on the right here. And with these sort of strategies, we can get monthly revenues of, 3 to 400K in just a few months. Here is probably a more rewarding way to show you some of the results that we've gotten. So these are some of our clients. You can see Mike on the left. We scaled him to 45K in just 3 months after him not previously running any social media ads and having never made Facebook ads work for his business. We've then got Greg, who we scaled from 20k per month to 200k per month in 7 months. We've got Myra, who managed to, we tripled her business in the first 3 months. And then we've got Mohammed, who has 10x his business since working with us. Now, why am I going through all of this? Why am I going to give you the exact steps that we use to scale all of these clients? And why am I giving it to you completely for free? I know what it's like. So I've run my own e-commerce brands. I've spanned those plates. I know what it's like to not want to pay an agency a couple thousand per month and be unsure of what it is that they're going to do or whether or not they're going to perform. I also know what it's like to not be able to do it myself. And so I want to give you the tools so that you can actually grow your business on your own. Now, the second reason is because you may need my help either now or in the future. And I do have something to sell you. So I'm not going to be one of these gurus that says, I have nothing to sell you. In reality, I do, okay? If you need help with implementation, my team and I can help you implement this entire strategy. And if you need help with consultation or you need coaching, we offer that as well. And I believe in karma. So if I help you now and I get from where you are to your next immediate goal, then when you scale your business to the point where you need to buy your time back, you're going to come to us for us to be the team to actually help you buy your time back and scale to that next level. And I want to build trust. I don't want to be in this circle of people, or agencies, shall I say, that are considered to not be proactive, where people think that they don't know anything about what they're talking about. They only care about getting paid. They don't actually know what it's like to run a real business. They don't focus on getting new customers. And the one that I hear all of the time on discovery calls is I've been burned in the past. And I don't want to be a part of this circle of agencies that take your money and don't actually deliver any real results. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's actually dive into some value. So this video, as you know, it's all about how to profitably scale your e-commerce brand with UGC in 2024. We're going to show you how to scale your brand the right way without spending hundreds of dollars to acquire new customers and without a top line that is as stable as today's economy. So here's what we're going to cover. So we're going to go through the 3 pillars of a successful marketing campaign, as well as a bonus pillar. We're going to go through the rich brand, poor brand method. We'll cover killer user-generated content, how to get content that converts, and how to start with your best foot forward. We'll cover how to make your campaigns efficient, okay, how to trim the fat, how to then mix and match and get yourself in a place where you could actually scale your business. And last but not least, we're going to cover how to scale, how to really grow your business and reach your revenue goals. Okay, so let's get into it. So section 1, the 3 pillars of a successful marketing campaign. So there are 3 pillars. It's creatives, audiences, and offer. And for you to get the most out of your campaigns, for you to maximize your results, you want all 3 to be performing effectively. Essentially, you want to show the right ad that's showing the right product to the right person at the right time with the right offer. And if we do this, we're going to sell loads of products to new customers. So let's break down each of these briefly. So a good creative accurately calls out the audience and their pain points. So you want to be very specific. You don't want to make a creative or a video or an image for everybody and for that to resonate with everybody. You want to focus on a very small portion of the market that are the most passionate about what it is that you're selling and those people that you can help the most, aka the people that are more likely to buy your products. You want your creative to call out their pain points, demonstrate your product to be the solution to those pain points. You then want to validate that solution. So not only do I want to say, here's your problem, here's my solution, but you also want to validate that with some level of social proof so that people can see that this product works. And you also want to show them how to take action. And to go through a few things that also make a good creative, it has to be engaging, right? If it's not engaging, people aren't going to watch it. If people don't watch your ad, they're not going to buy your stuff. If it drives curiosity, it's genuinely typically a good ad, right? If it's making people curious enough to click, they've taken that next step. Maybe they haven't purchased at this point, but even through being curious, clicking onto the website, they are much more likely to buy. A good ad is controversial. It's different, okay? If you're going to be like wallpaper and you're going to blend in and you're going to do the same as everybody else, you're not going to get engagement. It's not going to be driving curiosity, and ultimately you're not going to get the sale. A good ad is specific as well. So you don't want to make a very broad ad. You don't want to create no emotional reaction in anybody whatsoever because you're just trying to not offend anyone and you're trying to sell to everybody. And in fact, what ends up happening is you sell to nobody. You want to be specific as possible. A good ad also does not look like an ad. Okay, the more natural your ad looks like, the more it looks like a usual Facebook or Instagram post, the more likely you are to convert that person, for them to feel like they're buying it off their own back. They don't want to feel like they're being convinced and sold to. So a good ad doesn't look like an ad. Okay, and let's get into what a good audience looks like then. So again, this is a common theme. We want all of the aspects of our ad to be specific. So a good audience is specific to those who are most likely to be interested in what it is that you're offering. I always say be everything to somebody and not something to everybody. If we're everything to somebody, they're going to buy our stuff, regardless of how expensive it is. If they genuinely believe that we have the answers that they're looking for and our brand resonates with them, they're going to pay for it, right? If people think it's okay, but more people think it's okay, but not anybody thinks it's brilliant or nobody thinks it's worth paying for, then ultimately you're not going to get the sales. When you're thinking about the audience, don't just think about how old is this person. Don't think about the demographics exclusively, but think about the psychographics. So what are they interested in? Is this person interested in yoga? Not just are they 25 to 35 female. We want to get as specific and as targeted as possible. Okay. And now a good offer is basically a good offer, very simply. Let me actually put this in bold. A good offer is very important, but a good offer is something that people actually want at a price that is at least equal to or lower than the value that they perceive that solution to be worth. So in other words, if somebody thinks you have a $100 solution and you're charging $200 for it, they are not going to buy your stuff. If they think you've got a $100 solution and you're offering it out for $50, you're going to struggle to keep it in stock. So make sure the perceived value of what it is that you're offering is higher than what you're charging for it. You want your customers to feel like that they're getting a good deal, as well as you obviously making profit. Now, the bonus foundation to all of these foundations is product. This is always going to be the most important thing. I'll even underline it. Product is king, okay? Without a good product, you do not have a successful long-term business. It's as simple as that. Okay, you might have a sales machine, you might get a few new customers, but without your product actually working, people aren't going to return and buy more of your things. They're not going to recommend it to anybody else, and you're going to have a short-term business. And that's not what we're trying to create here. So having a great product is the single biggest lever that you can pull that's going to multiply all of your other efforts in business. So using the example of growing your e-commerce brand, if you've got a great product, everything else becomes easier. So great products, first of all, it's easier to sell. Because it's easier to sell, you're going to get more customers. And because you've got more customers and they like the product, they are more likely to leave more referrals. And so you've got more referrals. That is more social proof. Then people see those referrals and people see your reviews and people want to get involved. They've heard about the product and then it becomes easier to sell. And this becomes a flywheel, which multiplies. And the better your product, the faster this wheel spins. And the opposite is true. If you have a terrible product, it's going to be hard to sell. You're not going to get that many customers. Those customers won't tell anybody else about the product. In fact, they might do the opposite. They might leave terrible reviews and tell nobody to buy it, encourage people to stay away from the brand, and then it's going to become even harder to sell. So make sure you do the work up front to have a brilliant product. And I'm actually going to drill this point home. So let's use this example, very random, but let's use it anyway. So we have Jake Paul here, okay? At whatever age he is, I don't know at this point. Now, let's say Jake wants to be a boxer. Maybe he's never trained or been in a boxing fight at this point in his life. And here's Tyron Woodley. Looks like a beast, right? Professional fighter since 2009. 19 UFC wins. Former champion. He's trained in all styles of fighting, including boxing. And if we was to put these two in a ring, it would be unethical, okay? They're just unmatched. Tyron Woodley would destroy Jake Paul at this point. But what if Jake dedicates 4 years to learning to box from the world's best trainers, What if he trains every single day to become better and better? What if he fights multiple times, gradually increasing the difficulty of the opponent and is always looking for ways that he can improve? Well, we all know what happened. They fought twice and Jake won both times. And that's only because he did the work to make sure that he was the type of person that could actually get into the ring with this person and essentially outcompete. And that's the exact same with your brand. If you do the work to make sure you have the best product, you're going to win and you're going to outcompete. And it's going to be your competitors that are on the floor like this. And you want to be this person. You don't want to be this person in that situation. Okay. So let's cover the rich brand, poor brand method. Okay. This is what you came here for. This is the 18-step methodology to actually scaling your business. Okay. And it consists of 4 different phases. So let's get into it. So we have 4 phases. If you want access to this process flow, drop me a direct message and I can send this to you. It's not a problem. Phase 1, we have best foot forward. Then we trim the fat. We then mix and match, and then we scale, and then we repeat this. This never stops. If you want to grow to multiple 7 or 8 figures, you don't just do this once. You repeat this as a system. Okay, this is a growth system. So just to run through at a high level, we will break all of this down separately. But first of all, we want to start with our best foot forward. What does that mean? We want to make sure we do the work up front to start with what we think is our best possible creative ideas, our best audiences, etc., etc. Okay, and the way that we do that is through analyzing what works well in the market. We then have a session where we sit down, pen and paper, and we think of the best angles that we can actually launch. We then launch 5 different videos. We launch 5 to 12 audiences. We launch an Advantage Plus campaign as well. Once the campaigns have spent money, we then start to optimize and we reallocate spend. You want to spend more on what is working and spend less on what isn't working. And then if we have good enough results at this stage, we start to increase the spend. It's not the full scaling process at this stage, but if you're already there at this point, let's not hold back. Let's increase the budget by 20%. And we'll get into all of this later on in the video. You then want to make note of the top couple of audiences and the top couple of creatives. And the reason for that is because we're then going to mix and match. So we have the best audiences here and we have the best creatives here, and we want to combine them. So we want to recreate our top creatives specifically for those audiences. Once we've done that, we then scale. We constantly reallocate. We want to make sure these campaigns are as efficient as possible. And then we start to increase the spend. And so if we know we're getting, every time we spend $1, we get 3 or 4 in return, we now want to start increasing how much money we're putting into the machine so that we can really grow and scale up this business. And then we constantly repeat. So you don't just want to mix and match and go deeper and deeper and deeper into what is working. Yes, you want to do that, but you also want to introduce new variables based on what's working in the market and based on what you think is going to work from understanding your customers' pain points. And so by repeating this system, we go through the whole process again, launching 5 new creatives, launching 5 to 12 new videos, and eventually we mix and match and we scale and we repeat. Okay. So that's a high level overview of the rich brand, poor brand method. So let's actually get into the actionable steps that fall within that. So section 3 is going to be all about killer UGC, starting with your best foot forward. So what is UGC? UGC stands for user generated content, and that is a style of content that's popular right now. It's used to describe content basically that's posted by users on social media. What is a creative? This is Facebook's definition of a creative, and that is an object that contains all of the data for visually rendering the ad itself. You probably have no idea what that means. It basically just means the video or the image that you're running, okay? So it's basically what people see. It's the ad itself. And for the purpose of this video, we can use those names interchangeably. When I say creative, I mean the ad. When I say the ad, I mean the creative. Okay, so assuming you have a good product and offer, improving your creatives is going to be the biggest lever that you can pull to get new customers for less money. Okay, it's not audiences, it's not copy, it's not your headline, it's your creative. And if you want access to this checklist, again, drop me a message. I can give you access to this. Essentially, you can download it. You can select which creative concepts work specifically for your business. And I can definitely send that over. That's our killer creative checklist. We make sure to update this regularly based on what's working in the market today, okay, for e-commerce brands. So at the moment, we're having the most success with video ads, specifically UGC, which is why I'm making this video. That said, test, and test again, okay? So whilst we're focusing on videos here, still images can still be great. It depends on the account, okay? So test it, see what works best for your market, your product, and your ad account. Especially if you've got a product that's self-explanatory, maybe you're selling t-shirts, you don't need a video to sell t-shirts. It's the design itself that sells. Same for retargeting ads, okay? We're gonna be focusing on new customers here. But for people that already know your brand and they know what it is that you're selling, then yes, images can be a good option as well. Okay, so what's the why behind UGC? Why does it work right now? So people buy from people, okay? Ads that are in the form of user-generated content look less like ads, like we were saying before about what makes a good creative. UGC ticks that box. It has a strong social proof element. People don't ever want to be the guinea pig. Nobody wants to be the first person to try a particular solution. But if we can make it look like everybody's using this particular product, then it's going to create that FOMO effect. Everybody's going to want to get hold of the product and it's going to be easier to sell. And people are more likely to buy when we are showing them instead of trying to sell them. We can't speak to somebody and just talk about how great our products are. If we can actually show how it's impacted somebody else, that is much, much more powerful. So if you're looking for UGC, you've got a few options. So first of all, you can ask friends and family or real customers. This is always where we encourage you to start because it's going to be the most authentic. But what's the most scalable is actually getting creators to do this for you. So there are people called UGC creators, and we're going to show you exactly how to get hold of these people and how to get them to create the content that you want. But UGC creators specialize in creating this type of content, and they're going to make sure that they get across the same selling points that you want your potential customers to see. Whereas if you get friends and family to do it, yes, they might leave some wonderful feedback, but they might miss out some of the selling points that we really, really want to get across. Okay, so let's go through it. So step one in Best Foot Forward is competitor analysis and market research. There are two elements to this section. There is first principle thinking and thinking about solutions from scratch. So first principles basically means the practice of questioning every assumption you think you know about a given problem and then creating a new solution completely from scratch. So in this case, we'd think about what would our potential customers need to see to want to buy from us. Things you can think of here are what are their pain points? What have they tried before? And maybe what hasn't worked for them in the past? How do we separate ourselves from that? What do they need? What is the solution that they actually need? And what do they think they need? Because this can be very, very different. If you know what they think they need and you position your solution within that, you're not now convincing somebody of the solution. You're just convincing them that your solution is the one that they are looking for, which is much easier. And if you're struggling to come up with ideas for content here, then use inverse thinking. So inverse thinking is basically thinking about the opposite. So if you want people to buy from you, instead of thinking, what do you need to show them for them to be interested in your stuff? Instead, think about what would my target audience need to see to not be interested in buying your products, and how can you do the opposite? And combine this. So write these ideas down. Once you know you've got these different creative concepts, combine it with spying on your competition. Okay, so you want to also check what your competitors are doing, and you want to check their ads in the ad library, and you want to see what they're running to spot commonalities and to not just reinvent the wheel every single time and copy and innovate on what's already working well for them. So if I click on this link, you can go in the ad library, you can search per country, location, all ads. You can basically type in your competitor's brand and you can see what ads they're running at the moment. I recommend filtering from or sorting by oldest to newest. If your competition or your competitors are running an ad and they've been spending money to promote an ad for the last 12 months, it's not because it's losing money. It's because it's working, right? And so we want to copy that. Write all of this information down. Don't just look at one competitor's ads. You want to do this with at least 3 to 5 brands. If you want access to this template, drop me a direct message. Again, I can send you this. But essentially, you want to make sure you're taking note of the hooks that they're using, the pain points, the benefits, the different call to actions. And if you can see that 3 to 5 of your competitors, they're all using similar pain points, or maybe they're all using a very similar hook, you can start to see the patterns. And if they're all doing this, it's because it works, right? It's delivering sales. And so we can look to copy what they're doing and make it better and innovate on it. Okay, so once you've done that, we're now going to actually write the brief. So your brief is going to be what you send to your creators. And this is going to be what allows you to control the quality and the style of content that they produce. The better the brief, the better the videos. So remember this, don't be lazy with the brief. Make sure your ideas are written in a way that they can follow easily and can understand what it is that you're looking for them to do. We have a very specific structure that's been working well for us recently, which is hook, problem, solution, call to action. So just copy this, okay? This works well for us. You definitely want to have some sort of structure. The hook is the opening 3 to 5 seconds. It's also known as the scroll stopper, and it's definitely the most important part of the video. If your hook is boring, people aren't going to stop scrolling on social media. And if we don't stop them scrolling, you have 0 chance of getting that person to actually buy your stuff, okay? So make sure you capture their attention. The job of the hook is just to get them to watch the rest of the video. Don't try and sell them a product straight away. Just get their attention and let the rest of the video do its thing. Okay, so spend the time, if this wasn't clear, spend the time coming up with unbelievable hooks. You want to make sure your hook is specific as well. You don't want to try and get everybody to stop scrolling. You just want your target audience to stop scrolling, okay? You want them to be curious enough to watch the rest of the video, and you can see a diagram here of how this works. Imagine this is everybody on Facebook and Instagram. All of these people are seeing your ads. You want a hook that's going to capture their attention so that eventually we can have, we can open up that conversation and show our solution to be what they need. Okay, so let's use an example here. So in this example, we've got an e-commerce brand that sell natural pain relief supplements. We've got 3 different hooks and we'll go through each of them. So hook A, heal your pain with our natural remedy. Hook B, if you're in pain, you're going to want to watch this. And then hook C, the natural pain relief that Big Pharma hates. Now, A is clearly poor, okay? It's not really going to get that many people to actually stop and watch your ad, sorry. It's very general. It's too salesy. Heal your pain with our natural remedy. B is better because it's specific. If you are in pain, you are going to want to watch this. And so if I am the audience and I am in pain, I am more likely to watch this. But C here is the winner, okay? It drives curiosity. It's controversial, it's different, and it makes me want to understand what it is that I'm actually going to speak about. And C is the natural pain relief that Big Pharma hates. So you don't know anything about that, but you want to find out. Okay, so the moral of the story is spend the time crafting great hooks. Once you have your hook, you then want to nail the problem section of your video. Very, very important. We've got their attention now. Now we need to keep their attention. The more accurately you can describe your target audience's problem or their pain points, the more likely they are to stay engaged and intently watch the rest of your video. So again, you want to be specific. You want to understand what it is that your customer is going through so that you can relate and resonate, so that it feels like we are entering the conversation in the target audience's mind. So let's use this same example, okay? So with this e-commerce brand that's selling a natural pain relief supplement, let's say we're going to position this product to an older demographic and they suffer from knee pain. So let's look at this problem statement here. So from the age of 50, sleepless nights, constant worrying, agony, moaning to friends, and endless Google searches for a way to get rid of my knee pain has been something that I've learned to constantly deal with. Now, why is this a good problem statement? It's because it's specific, right? So if you are somebody that's over 50, you have had sleepless nights, you're worrying constantly, you've spoken to friends about this, you've been moaning to friends, and you've done a Google search, there's no chance you are not watching the rest of this video because you are so intrigued at this point that you need to find out what the next section of the video is going to be. What is this solution that's going to come after this? Again, you want the viewer, the potential customer, to feel like you have entered the conversation in their head. Another example, just to drive this home, you've probably been to the doctor multiple times, been prescribed a lifetime supply of paracetamol. Maybe you've even tried knee compression supports. And if you're really desperate, you're probably also wearing insoles that are supposed to cure your knee pain. And so if you're somebody that's done all of this and you're doing this right now, it's going to keep your attention, okay? It's going to speak specifically to you. Right, now that you've called out your audience's pain points and their problem, it's time to demonstrate the solution, which is your product, okay? You want to show people, you don't want to tell people. It's really, really important. If you need to get B-roll here, get B-roll. In fact, we encourage you to do so. For example, in the brief, well, first of all, B-roll is just additional footage that we can use. We can edit into the video so that instead of just speaking about something, we can actually show that happening in reality. So we want to show the problem. That's the most effective way to get your point across. Show, not tell. Okay, your solution should segue nicely from the problem statement. You want it to flow nicely. So we've got the hook, we've got their attention. We're now keeping their attention with the problem, and now we want to put them out of their misery and show them a solution. So let's run with the same example. So the problem statement was, from the age of 50, sleepless nights, constant worrying, agony, moaning to friends and family, and endless Google searches for a way to get rid of my knee pain has been something that I've learned to constantly deal with. The solution that follows on from this would be, I don't want to jinx it, but I think I've finally found something that works. I've been taking XYZ for the last 30 days, and this is the best I've ever felt. I'm finally able to play badminton again. It's only been 30 days, but I'm grateful. I'm hopeful, sorry. Okay, so in this example, we've got the hook problem. Here's now the solution. You can see we've been authentic with this as well. We're not claiming this is going to solve all of their problems. We're just speaking from this person's experience. And in this example, we could use B-roll. So instead of saying, I'm now able to play badminton again, we would actually show this person playing badminton again. And you could do the same for the problem. Imagine how much more effective that's going to be. Instead of just saying, I was in pain, sleepless nights, instead we show somebody not being able to sleep, or maybe they're walking with a limp to demonstrate their pain. And then now, after taking the solution, we can actually see that they're able to play badminton again. Okay, that's very powerful. So use B-roll as much as you can. Okay. Now we've got the hook, the problem statement, the solution. We now need to show them how to take action, which is your call to action. You need to tell the person that's watching your ad what to do next. Now, a call to action should be very simple. It should be very straightforward. Essentially, all you're doing is telling them what to click on next, but you can strengthen your call to action by adding an offer. You can incentivize them to actually click right now. So the way that we do that is, first of all, your CTA needs to be simple and specific. If the person is confused, they're not going to buy from you. If you're saying, click on this link, scroll down to the bottom, fill out this form, enter this code, and you'll finally enter the chance to win this or to buy this at a discounted rate. It's too complicated, all right? People aren't going to do that. It needs to be very specific and simple and concise. So let's use an example here. Now, this example is overkill, but I wanted to show you all of the different tactics that we can use to encourage and incentivize that person to click on the button. So let's use this example. XYZ brand is currently running a 20% discount for the next 150 first-time customers this month. Click shop now to get your first XYZ. So you can see here, very specific. Click on shop now. There is no confusion. I click on one button and that's it. That's my call to action. And you can see here we've been specific, we've been clear, we have different incentives, and we've added urgency and scarcity. So we've got urgency here because it's this month. It's not a evergreen offer. We're not going to run this for the next 12 months. It's this month. And you can see we have scarcity because it's only for the next 150 first-time customers. So these tactics are all encouraging me to want to click the shop now button. Okay, so now you've got your brief. You've got all of the inputs. You know what the storyline is going to be for your videos. You need to actually create that brief. So the brief should be structured in different sections. And we call this content blocking. So instead of getting somebody to just film one video end to end, you instead want to break it up into hooks, storyline, closing statements. The storyline consists of both the problem and the solution. So just combine that. So we've got the hook, storyline, closing statement. The reason we do it in this way is because it's going to allow us to test different variations of a video to make it even better. So if we've got a video that's working well, instead of having to refilm an entirely new video, we can just try and make it a little bit better by swapping out maybe one of the hooks, or if something isn't performing well, we can try a different combination. And so our winning ad might not be hook 1, story 1, statement 1, but it might actually be hook 1, story 2, and statement 3. And so it gives us more options. If you want this template that we've created, drop me a message again. I'll make sure to send this to you. Essentially, this is everything that we've covered. And you want to make sure that you deliver your brief to your creators in this sort of format so that they can easily digest it. They know exactly what it is that they need to film. They know what the overall video is asking them to do. It's specific. And this is going to make sure that you get the quality of ad that you're looking for. Okay, so now we've got the brief. How do we actually hire these creators? Where do we find them? So first of all, a good creator should be able to deliver one storyline, so that's your problem, your solution, with 3 different hooks and 3 different closing statements or call to actions. And that should cost anywhere between $75 to $150. Don't overpay. You know, we've tried spending $200, $300, $400 for a creator. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. Don't underpay because you do get what you pay for. We recommend going within that range of $75 to $150. If you're going to use lots of content, so we're using content every single month. Obviously, we do this for multiple brands. We use a platform called Incense a lot of the time, especially when first starting out. At this point now, we have our own Rolodex of creators that we've worked with, but a lot of them have come from Incense, okay, which in some ways is trial and error. We recommend using Incense because it basically allows you to have that one-to-one relationship with the creator. It does require a subscription, which is why we only recommend it if you are actually going to make use of it. You know, you need to have enough videos for it to make sense. But using Incense is good. We typically find better quality creators on Incense compared to other solutions like Billo or using an agency. And one of the added benefits is that you can create a product seeding campaign. So a product seeding campaign is basically where you can upload a campaign that creators can apply to basically create free content for your business in exchange for free products. Now, there is a caveat to this. It only really works well if you've got something that people want. So if you've got a water bottle, for example, or a phone case, it's not that desirable. Whereas if I am offering, a free stand-up desk, then I'm going to get a lot of high-quality creators applying for this because they want the desk in exchange for videos. So bear that in mind. And even when you have a high-ticket product, beware, you have less control. So ultimately you just do, you know, you're not paying for this. They're sort of giving you free content in exchange for your products. You're not going to get the level of control that you otherwise would if you just pay for this specific video. Okay, and if budget's tight and you have less need for new content constantly, use Billow instead. Billow's cheaper. It's very similar, but it allows you to just basically buy the one video or two videos instead of subscribing. And now the reason we recommend Incense and not Billow is just because in our experience, we found that Incense has better creators. Okay, so you should at this point now know how to actually hire a creator, you know, use these two platforms. Then you want to hire a video editor. And why do you want to hire a video editor? It's because it allows you to get more variations to then test. Instead of spending hundreds of dollars on new creators every single time you want a new video, instead we just get the creators to film bulk content, and then a video editor can then turn that into so many different ads. Now, testing variations is going to increase your probability of finding winning creatives. Now, to show you this in reality, let's actually give you an example. Let's break this down. So we've got two different situations. Let's just say we've got campaign A and we've got campaign B, okay? So in campaign A, we've paid one creator to film 3 different videos. We've got video 1, video 2, and video 3. And we run this as a campaign. And only one of the videos ends up generating sales, which is good, okay? It's not bad. We run 3 videos and we have one winner. Great, fantastic. That's only going to last a certain amount of time. And if I now want to find more winners, I'm going to have to find more creators or pay that same creator again. Now let's compare it to this situation where that same creator films another 3 videos, video 1, 2, 3, but instead this time we've actually hired a video editor to create 3 variations of each video. So instead of 3 different ads, we now have 9 ads in total. And as you can see here, we've got 5 different winning videos from these same 3 original videos. And so now we're more likely to find these winning videos, and we have more. And that's going to lead to more success as we look to scale. You don't just want one winning video. You want as many as possible. Okay, so let's break this down. So campaign A, campaign B. This is a relatively realistic example of what could happen. Okay, so campaign A, we've just paid that one creator and we've only got 3 videos. We start off by spending $100 per week and we get a 3x ROAS. Brilliant. ROAS is return on ad spend. So this basically means we've spent $100 and we've gotten 3x in return. So we've got $300 in revenue. Not bad, okay? When we then increase spend, because results are going well in week 2, we're now spending $200, but because we only have one winning video, you can see returns start to diminish. Week 3, we increase again, and now it drops again. Week 4, we increase even more, and now we're at half of the return on investment that we was getting at a lower spend. Not good, okay? Campaign B, on the other hand, we spend $100 to begin with. Yes, we get a slightly lower return, 2.8 instead of a 3x. And that's to be expected because we're testing more, okay? So the average might be skewed. You might have some losers in the campaign that are bringing down your average. But as we increase spend, we make things more efficient, and you can see we increase our return on ad spend. And then we increase again. And to make this realistic, results might drop back down to 2.8. But in reality, that's still much better than the 2x that we were getting here. And we might have slight fluctuations, but at least as long as we're growing overall, we don't care. We're scaling. We're growing our business. This is realistic. And at this point in week 4, it increases again. And now we're spending $400 and we're getting 2.9x return instead of just having one good video, spending $400 and only getting 1.5x in return. Which would you prefer? Campaign A or campaign B? Exactly, campaign B. So where do I actually find these editors? I'm not going to go into the platform and show you how to do that. Just go to either of these. You'll find talent on all 4 platforms, to be honest. Upwork's my favorite. Fiverr's good for short-term, cheaper videos if you're on a low budget. Onlinejobs.ph and LinkedIn Jobs, That's good if you need a dedicated resource. Okay, so if you're looking for long-term work, try these two. If you're looking for one-off projects, freelancers, contractors, go to Upwork or Fiverr. Okay, so now you've got your creators, you've written your brief, you've got the editor, you now want to launch your campaigns. Now, you want to trim the fat. So you've got everything ready, you're more or less ready to launch. This is not going to be a video showing you how to set everything up. I'm not going to go through the ad account and show you what buttons to press. There are thousands of videos showing you how to do that. If you need help, drop me a message and we can send you either a video showing you how to go through it, or we can walk you through it on a call. But essentially this video, I'm keen not to make this a 3 or 4 hour video. So I'm going to just show you the high level strategy. And if you need help, like I said, let me know. So you want to first of all make sure that you separate out your cold and retargeting campaigns. First of all, now in this video, we're really going to be focusing on new customers. So getting people who have never heard of us to buy our stuff. So retargeting, it's very important. We're not going to cover it in this video, however. So let's talk about new customers. How do we actually set this up to maximize the results? How do we grow our business? So first of all, you want to launch 5 creatives and 5 to 12 audiences. The audiences are going to depend on how much budget you have to spend and how big your market is. So if you're spending 100,000 per month on ads, yeah, you want to make sure you launch more audiences because you can, and you can find winners quicker. Also, depending on the size of your market, if you've got a very small market, don't just launch 12 audiences for the sake of it. Just go with 5 high quality audiences instead of 12 okay audiences. You want to make sure that your budget is evenly spread across all of the audiences. Audiences means ad sets means audiences. So when I use those words interchangeably, you understand what I'm saying. So if your budget is $200 per day and you've got 5 audiences, you want to spend $40 per day on each audience. Okay, so you want to compare apples with apples. And before making any changes, before making any optimizations, you want to let each audience spend for at least 1 week. Okay, at least 1 week, to be honest, I'd say 2 weeks, or until each ad set has spent a minimum of $100. Before that point, do not make any changes. Just let them spend, even if they're getting no sales. Don't be emotional, be logical, and let the data come through so that you can make data-led decisions. Once you've gotten to that point, you then want to move spend around appropriately. So don't increase the overall budget. If you're spending $200 a day, carry on spending $200 a day. But this time, instead of spending $40 on each ad set, spend more on what is working and spend less on what isn't working. And if at this point you've got any audiences that are just not performing at all, let's say you've got 5 audiences, 3 of them have gotten a lot of sales, 2 have gotten, one's gotten no sales and the other one's gotten a few amount of sales, kill the one that isn't performing at all. If it's getting no sales, if it's nowhere near where it needs to be, then kill it. Okay, just turn it off completely and spend that budget elsewhere on what is working. And remember, be logical. Make data-led decisions based on appropriate timeframes. So you need to make sure you're not making a decision based on how many sales has this gotten in the last hour or in the last day or even in the last 7 days in some cases. You want to be logical, okay? Check the last 7 days. Check the last 14 days. When you've been running ads for longer, check the last 30 days. A bad day doesn't mean we should turn off a good audience. Remember that. Okay, so if after 1 to 2 weeks of reallocating and optimizing your budget, and you're now acquiring customers at a customer acquisition cost that you're satisfied with, then you can increase the spend by 20%. So increase the budget by 20% in the highest performing areas. Now, it's important to not start this process of scaling without having a profitable return on ad spend, your ROAS. So you need to know what your break-even ROAS is, which is basically what return on ad spend do I need to get after paying my product and shipping costs to be profitable. If you need help calculating your break-even ROAS, either Google the calculation, should be a quick Google calculation, or I can give you access to this, which basically is a ROAS calculator. So you can see here with a profit margin of 70%, we need to achieve a 1.43x return on our ad spend to be profitable. And anything below this is where we're losing money. And it's really important that you know these numbers so that you're making sound, logical, data-led decisions. Okay, so at this point, you know your break-even ROAS, increase spend by 20 to 25% in the higher performing areas if you are in the right place to do so. Do not rush this process or get excited. So if the ROAS isn't there, just keep on optimizing, just keep moving things around and make sure you get to a point where you have the foundations to scale. The ROAS is high enough to start increasing that budget. And if it's not, do not rush this process. And even if it is going well for you, don't get excited and just double your budget or 10x your budget, because you could break the campaigns. And what's working well now won't work as well if you just increase too quickly. So never increase by more than 25%. And to be honest, we usually do 20% as the sweet spot. Okay. So regardless of whether you're scaling at this stage or whether you're still optimizing, it doesn't really matter. Move on to section 5, which is mix and match. So make note of your top 2 to 3 creatives. So what is the style of these videos? Which hooks have we used? What's the creator that's doing well right now? Look for any other commonalities, and also make note of the top 2 to 3 audiences. And what we're going to do here is we're going to repeat the process. So we're going to create more content. Again, we're going to create another brief. We're going to film new ads with different creators, whatever, or the same creators. It doesn't really matter. But this time we're going to recreate those ads that are working well right now. And we're going to create them for the audiences that are doing well. And they're going to be specific. So let's just use an example. Let's say I'm selling healthy seasoning, okay? There are many people that are likely to be interested in this product. And if the video that's doing well right now is a testimonial style video, but the best audience that's working well right now is people that are interested in yoga, well, in that situation, we're going to create more content in the style of what's already working, so customer testimonials, but this time we're going to do it in a yoga studio, and we're going to use language and tonality that people that are interested in yoga are going to resonate with. Maybe we get somebody to speak about their yoga lifestyle and how this has influenced that lifestyle. And we're going to then push the ads directly to that person so that our acquisition cost becomes a lot lower, because we're basically making a more direct ad. So we're wasting less of our ad spend. Okay, let's just follow this example. So company X sells the health supplements. What's working right now is yoga. Instead of recreating a general fitness and health and wellness video, we're now going to make sure that it speaks specifically to this audience. Maybe we'll use a yoga instructor who references their yoga lifestyle and how this all aligns with that lifestyle. We're also going to launch new audiences similar to what's already working well. So if yoga is our best audience, we also want to launch similar audiences like Pilates, for example. Okay, so we now are matching our best content with our best audiences. So we're shedding the fat. We are trimming the fat. Our campaigns are becoming more effective, and we're getting closer to putting out videos where people see that video and they just buy straight away. And that's going to drop our customer acquisition cost significantly. Okay, so section 6 is going to be about scaling. So you launch these audiences, you launch the new ads. Again, repeat the process of making sure they get enough data before making any decisions. Once you get the data, you can then start to reallocate. You trim the fat again, you turn off what's not working, and you spend more money on what is working. And then we're able to scale. Okay, so let them spend again for at least 1 to 2 weeks, or until each variable has spent $100. Then reallocate again for another 1 to 2 weeks. And then once ROAS is where it needs to be and it's consistent, let's say for us to scale, we set a minimum KPI of 2x. So as long as we're getting $2 every time we put $1 into the machine, then we're satisfied, and we want to put more in. And so we want to scale. If that's the KPI that we set, again, be logical with this. And so if it gets to the next week and your ROAS is higher than a 2x, 2.1, 2.2, increase the budget, because that's your minimum KPI. You've hit the benchmark, and we can now increase the spend. Now, it's really important when you increase the spend, don't just increase the overall budget. You want to put the additional budget into the best performing variables. So again, if we have the yoga audience that's doing well, put that increased budget into the yoga audience. If we have some of our new creatives that are working extremely well, then try and put that spend into those creatives. Okay, so we want to increase the spend, and we also want to increase our baseline. We want our average to come up. Okay, remember with this, be logical, take a bird's eye view approach. If the ROAS drops below break even, do not increase the spend. Let's say you hit that 2x and you increase spend. See, when you increase spend, you want to do it at the same point every single week. So if you decide we're going to evaluate on Mondays for the last 7 days, that's fine. But you need to be doing this every Monday, not one day. 1 week it's Monday, the next week going to check on Wednesday, and the week after it's going to be Friday. You need to have a systematic approach. And so if it's Monday, check the ROAS. If it's above break even, increase the spend. And if it's not, do not increase the budget for that week. Okay, just stop the increase, reallocate again, optimize, make sure you get to a point where you're back above a 2 or whatever your KPI is, and then increase again the following week if performance is there. Okay. Now, this is a system. Constantly repeat this process in this exact order so that you're introducing new and different creative angles and audiences based on competitor analysis and market research. And you're also building out the best performing audiences and creatives to reach their full potential and scalability. Okay, so we don't just want to keep going deeper and deeper into what's working. So let's say that yoga audience, eventually we're going to max that out. If we only go in that direction, we're going to get to a point where we don't have any more angles to test. We've maxed it out, right, for that particular audience. So make sure you repeat the process. You go back to the top, and again, you go through and you do your market research. You take in the customer data that you've got. You listen to your customers' feedback on their pain points, and now you use this to test brand new angles. So you're always introducing new variables. We're not just trying to scale and increase our output, our revenue, without increasing our inputs. We need to introduce more variables if we're going to increase spend and expect to get a good return on investment. Okay, so hopefully that's been helpful. As you scale, your account is going to evolve and become more and more complex. You're going to get to a point where you've introduced so many new variables that you'll want to buy your time back, okay? And your options at this point is either you hire an in-house team, you hire a freelancer or a contractor, or you hire an agency, okay? I'll make a separate video going through the pros and cons of each of those different options. If you got value from this masterclass, click on the link in the description for more free resources. And if you want to speak to me directly, click on the same link and you'll be able to book a call and we can chat through your situation and how we might be able to help you.